Think your kids are getting a dependable clean in the bathroom? Think again. Try Charmin Ultra Strong for a clean with fewer pieces left behind. Its diamond weave texture is soft and more durable, so it holds it better for a more dependable clean. Fewer pieces left behind. Charmin Ultra Strong.
Randolph Dial, the convicted killer who'd busted out of prison, was back behind bars. His hostage, Bobbi Parker, was reunited with her family after more than 10 years as Dial's captive. It seemed like a happy ending to an incredible story. But from the day Bobbi disappeared, some people had doubts about what really happened to her. One of them was her husband's former boss, Warden Jack Cowley. Did you suspect Bobbi Parker had a hand in it right away?
I was drawn to that conclusion.
It was Cowley, remember, who picked Dial to run the pottery program out of the Parkers' garage. Then one day, he now says, he was driving by the Parker home.
And I saw Dial and Bobbi out on the front porch drinking coffee or tea or something.
And they looked a little bit too cozy.
Right.
Then there were the phone calls from Bobbi just after the prison break. She called her mother, and she made 2 more calls soon after that to a friend and her sister-in-law, but none to her husband. What did you think about that?
First of all, I thought it was a relief. I thought it was good that she was able to make a phone call. I didn't think that she would be calling home because I just didn't figure Dial would let her.
Maybe Randy wasn't suspicious, but plenty of others were, including Charles Sasser, the former detective who'd written a book on Randolph Dial.
Dial started out tending the warden's garden. He tended the warden's ceramic shop and then apparently ended up tending the warden's wife.
Sasser recalled that night in 2001, 7 years after the escape, when Dial called him and offered to put Bobbi on the telephone.
I said, "Are you all right?" And she says, "Yes, I'm fine, I'm happy."
Did she sound at all like she was saying she was happy because a kidnapper was standing next to her?
She did not sound stressed to me at all.
According to an Oklahoma district attorney, John Wampler, that conversation fit a pattern.
There were just multiple opportunities that she had to make some effort to contact the authorities or to tell somebody that she needed help. How could you be gone from your children for 11 years and never contact them, never make an attempt to get away?
And now, as deputies searched the trailer where Dial and Bobbi had lived, they were finding evidence suggesting that maybe it took so long to find Bobbi because she didn't want to be found.
There were cards, Valentine's Day cards and things like that that she had given Randolph Dial.
They also developed a roll of film which showed photos of Bobbi smiling. Hardly the picture of an abused woman being held against her will. And they found this letter to Dial in Bobbi's handwriting.
She talked about her love for Randolph Dial, how much they had enjoyed being together. It certainly spoke volumes about the relationship that they had at that point.
It wasn't just the letter, it was the circumstances that led to it. Bobbi wrote it after Dial was hospitalized for a heart attack in 2004. That's right, Dial had a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital, and Bobbi stayed by his side.
There was just tons of evidence to show that their relationship was more than someone living in fear every day of her life. It was a loving relationship. It was one of husband and wife. I mean, that's basically how they were living down there.
Or so it seemed to investigators who searched their mobile home.
The trailer house had 2 bedrooms, but only one of the bedrooms was obviously being used. There were condoms and a vibrator found in one of her drawers.
And D.A. Wampler said he'd found evidence this was not the first time Bobbi had been involved with an inmate. One prisoner told investigators he'd had an affair with Bobbi at the same prison where she was named Teacher of the Year.
In her previous roles at the other institutions, she probably was closer to many of the prisoners than she should have been.
Remember how Bobbi said she couldn't recall how she and Dial left the prison that day? Well, an inmate came forward to say he did remember, and Bobbi was driving.
He didn't notice that she was drugged or acting funny. Didn't see anything in Randolph Dial's hand, no big knives or anything like that. He saw Bobbi driving. He saw her look over at him
And some funny look in her eye.
yeah, it was kind of a startled look. She looked at him for several seconds, and then drove off.
Why was she in the van at all, the DA wondered. Dial, he said, didn't need her.
He had the freedom to roam the prison grounds without anyone checking on him. So all he had to do was walk away.
If Dial didn't need Bobbi, maybe, DA Wampler said, it was the reverse. Your feeling was that Bobbi Parker was not the woman that she was portraying herself.
Absolutely not.
In April 2008, on the 3rd anniversary of Bobbi Parker's liberation from a Texas chicken farm, the district attorney filed felony charges against her for assisting Randolph Dial's escape from prison. What was your reaction?
Oh my gosh. This cannot be happening.
Coming up, from abducted to accused, Bobbi Parker speaks at last on the question she's never answered.
Did you fall in love with Randolph Dial?
When Dateline continues.